I like everything about bass, So it was impossible for me to not play German bow. I'm so curious.
Welcome to another episode of Contrabass Conversations, your show covering life on the low end of the spectrum. I'm your host, Jason Heath, and I want to thank you so much for tuning in. Subscribe to the podcast, share us on social media, drop us a line. I'd love to hear from you. Details to everything are available at our website, contrabassconversations.com. And today, we are featuring Thierry Barbé. Now, Thierry serves as principal bass of the Paris National Opera and teaches at the Paris Conservatory. And he's internationally known as a soloist and as a clinician. And Thierry is also the founder of the European Double Bass Society, which was founded after Thierry organized the first biannual European Bass Conference in 2008. And I had the good fortune to serve on the board of the International Society of Bassists with Thierry several years ago. And it was such a great experience getting to know him there. He's a great guy, warm and engaging, and such a positive force in the bass world. And we dig into all sorts of topics, including Thierry's experiences studying bass and harmony and counterpoint at the Paris Conservatory, what it's now like teaching at the Conservatory after going to school there, the evolution of contemporary bass music that Thierry has witnessed during his performing career, and how he focuses on expressive music regardless of what time period it was composed in. We also dig into how Thierry pulls together elements from various technical approaches in his own bass playing method. And we talk about commonalities between German and French bow technique. Thierry plays both, and how learning the German bow influenced Thierry's French bow technique. And we also discuss Thierry's new CD and DVD release, French Impressions, which illustrates this expressive music, French music that Thierry loves so much. And you'll be hearing excerpts from the new release throughout the episode, and it's released on the Triton label. We have links in the show notes, so be sure to check that out, and please enjoy this interview with Thierry Barbé. What was your first musical instrument?
Well, I'm not from a musician family, I took piano lessons at 10 and began the double bass at 50 years old. And my piano teacher was also double bassist in the city orchestra. My city was Metz. It's in the east of France. And her husband was the double bass professor and principal bass of this orchestra, Maurice Leblanc, he was. And he was a student from Delmas Boussagol, so in the French tradition, yes.
And so you started playing bass, and at what point did you know that you wanted to make a life in music? Was that early on? Or?
Yes. No, not exactly. After my baccalaureate, the normal studies, general studies, I was thinking I liked very much the music, and the double bass was for me a way to enter in this profession. So I said, okay, maybe I'm lucky. I want to try. And after my baccalaureate, I tried the CNSM, the Conservatoire de Paris, and so I was successful. So it was okay for me.
So you went to school at the conservatory, and tell me just a little bit about what the experience was like. What's it like? And now teaching there must be interesting, having both sides of that. What's the experience of attending that conservatory like?
Yes. In 1979, The CNSM was a great school with traditions coming from César Franck, leading to Debussy, Ravel, Messiaen. And I not only studied the double bass with Jean-Marc Rollez, but also high levels of solfège, very famous in France. And I decided then to continue with the real class of music analysis with Jacques Castered. Maybe you know him. He composed for double bass Chemin in the Leduc edition. And I studied also harmony, contrepoint, with Jean-Claude Reynaud, very famous teacher. What at that time was not enough developed was the new wave of contemporary music and also the new movement of historically informed for early music. But we played contemporary music at that time only at the end of the year because it was an imposed piece commissioned by the conservatory. And later I began to play some contemporary music like Theraps from Xenakis, with Xenakis himself. And I opened my mind more to new ideas, of course. And now, as I'm teaching now in the conservatoire, things I think has changed a lot in the more contemporary music sense. You see, for instance, now I think it's absolutely normal to play Valentine from Druckmann, something. So it became something very classical now for my students. However, in my class, I always play expressive music in Baroque, classic, romantic, or modern music, solo or orchestral. And it seemed that my nature is to be expressive, and the character of my students who are coming to me also. So we play modern music, but very expressive.
I remember reading that you studied electroacoustic music. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yes, that's right. That was after the conservatory. So I would want to study every kind of music, of course. And then I wrote some pieces for double bass and electronic in 1994, something like that. I recorded it in my first CD. It was very old CD called Nomad. Maybe you have it, I don't know. But now it's out of print.
Now, so you've written some electroacoustic music, bass and electronics. Tell us about some of your other compositions, and maybe start with some of your musical influences that have influenced your composition.
Yes. I composed as an extension of my music harmony class. I mean, in the style of Debussy to Shostakovich. This is the kind of style that I like very much, which are very expressive phrases with nice subtle harmonies. This is what I like.
Okay, sure. Me too.
Yeah, I composed also in the 1994 a triptych, 3 pieces, Nior, Nikar, and Occidental. And you can go on my YouTube channel. You can check it.
Has those. Okay, yeah. So I know that we served together on the ISB board. That was maybe 10 years ago, something like that. Tell us just about your association with the ISB.
Yes, my first convention was in Oklahoma City in 2007. And I like it so much. And at that time, I had met Hans Sturm. in the François Rabat's kitchen, simply, just to talk. And he invited me to go and play in Oklahoma City. And he also invited me to be in the board, ISB board. And it gave me a very nice support to organize my project, the big event of my life, the Bass 2008 Paris convention in my conservatory. So since this one, you can tell that the European Bass Society is born after this convention too, and my goal was to make a big, of course, union with Europe and American ISB, which is international also, of course. But European people, it's so far from America that it's very difficult to get them to ISB, because it's also expensive to go to the conventions, so.
Yes, definitely.
Yes. And, when I go to the ISB conventions, I like it very much, and I feel myself exactly in the middle as a bridge between American people and European people.
Well, I like the image of you and Hans in Francois' kitchen. That's great.
Exactly. And I know that at that time I was also president of the French Bass Society. And at that time I was editing minimum 4 reviews per year and organizing mini bass competitions in France and interviewing a lot of double bassists from all over the world, like you do. And but it was for the French Bass Society. And then after Bass 2008, we were a little bit tired, and now I'm in search of a new energy to continue, maybe in young French people, I hope.
Sure. When did you first meet Francois?
I met Francois in my orchestra, in my opera orchestra. So first, I didn't met him because there is 2 teams in the orchestra, and I was not in his team. But then I was in his team, and not only his team, but his stand. So I was playing with him a long time, 10 years, exactly with him on the same stand. And so I know him very well, of course. It's a good friend. And of course, I was a little... He shared me so much things about technique. It was very, very nice times for me, of course.
Well, and he's somebody that people think of when they think of double bass technique, influential double bass technique in the world. He's one of the people that has influenced so many bass players. Tell us just about the various approaches you've had to teaching double bass technique. How do you approach double bass technique?
After all my studies about all over the world, I could say, my conclusion, first, the shape of the double bass, the measures of the vibrating string, the position of the bridge on the top, and the action of the strings and the tension of the strings must first be in harmony with the body of the students. That's first very, very, very important, because we are not everybody tall, like with... big hands, and so for me it's the first thing to check that the bass, the regulation of the bass fits to us. That's the first thing, and it's the most important thing for me, because we have talents, we are good musicians, we have capacities, but if we have a too big instrument, how is it possible to express music? It's not possible. And then, with these details, when it's done, we can work to get a good technique, of course. And the technique I teach is inspired by techniques from all over the world: Romanian, French, Italian. I could say that I play like a cello technique, and the fingerings that I use are based on Simandl system, and of course can be extended with thumb position in the neck, thumb pivot like François Rabat for the fast tempi, But I play very expressive with a lot of vibrato. So for me, Simandl system is the bass, a very important bass, because the hand is grouped, the fingers are grouped, and I can be very strong in this position, of course, and so expressive. About the bow, I teach French and German bow. But of course, in France, mostly French bow. But I have some students from all over the world. So I am very happy when I can teach also with German bow. I think we need both bows to save our shoulders for instance, in a pit opera orchestra. It's very important, 3 hours in the evening or more. And it's very tiring with repetitive chords, repetitive notes, not expressive singing melody notes, but only some bow strokes for the harmony and for the accompanist, So, it's very tiring for the shoulder. And that's why I use German bow. Anyway, I like everything about bass, So it was impossible for me to not play German bow. I'm so curious. So I studied German bow with all my friends, Katalin or Miloslav Jelinek, Gottfried Engels, Volkan Orong, many. And so by myself, I have now my German bow technique.
Do you find that now, having picked up German bow, do you find that that's helped your French bow playing in any way? Has it changed the way you look at the bow at all?
For sure, because my French grip is absolutely inspired by the German bow, and also the French bow inspired me for the German bow technique. It's vice versa, and. I think the pronation system, everything is based. I try to have a universal grip between the two bows. It's something. There is a lot of common points for me between the bows.
I'm really interested by these new bows that are being made, these hybrid bows that are the French-German. I don't know if you've experimented at all with any of those.
Yes, of course. Very often, anyway, with my French bow, I play German grip in the orchestra, and there is no problem. So I don't think we need a special bow, And I also made recital with German bow, but French grip.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So, it's not obligatory.
Yeah. I'd love to, you're a well-known name in French bass playing, and obviously Francois is too. I don't know if you could speak to just any general differences between the way people teach, perform in France versus maybe some other countries.
Mm-hmm. Well, for me, the playing is not so different, but I think the basses are different in France. They are more cello-like, with clear sound. And some French bows also, the French bow also has a clear sound. So it makes solo instrument rather than orchestral instrument sometimes. However, all our 19th century big basses have a very nice deep sound, of course. But from the 20th century, there is more and more cutted basses with nanny form, And so clear sound, little basses. And I know that Gerika, for instance, likes a lot the little basses sound, clear sound in the orchestra because it's very precise. So we could have both big basses and also little basses. We have that in opera. And I agree with Gerika because this is our school, in fact, in France. Well, I could say also it's harder to play in section because the sound is more clear. And if you go in Germany or Italy, the old Italian basses and German basses are absolutely darker. So it's very easy to play because you are hidden behind this very dark sound. So the French basses expose our sound sometimes too much.
Okay, yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yes.
Yes. This is why I prefer to have very dark bow to correct the clearness of our basses sometimes.
Oh, interesting. So you go for the darker bow, and that kind of balances out the sound.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And what can I say also is, considering the playing, it depends on individuals, of course, but we play most rather very expressive with a lot of vibrato generally, like a cellist would do, I think. Maybe more than some other countries, I don't know exactly.
So you got this new release, and I've checked out the preview that you got on YouTube, and it's great. What was the inspiration behind this new CD DVD that you just put out?
Thank you to talk about this. This CD illustrates the French expressive composing school that I was speaking about, and I play only one transcription. It is a Debussy cello sonata. So for me, it's very important to play this. I play exactly the same notes, the same pitch. And the three other pieces are original from a French composer Florentine Mulsan, sonata. She was a classmate of me in my class in the conservatory. And Richard Dubugnon sonata that I hope, because it's a long time. I played it in Penn State. I know you were there. And also I play the Henry Tomasi concerto, which was created by Pierre Elouin in 1971. And it's a great, great, difficult concerto. It was never played after him. So I'm very, very happy to make the first recording in a CD. And it's also the DVD. It's just for students who want to watch me playing. Simply. So it's a very, I think it's a good CD because you can listen it during your kitchen, in your kitchen. It's okay. It's very, very nice.
That's great. Well, on that Debussy piece, that's fantastic that you performed that.
Yeah,
also.
Thank you.
What's coming up for you the rest of 2016, 2017? What other projects do you have coming up?
Well, just right now, I go in Taiwan in July with Tom Martin and Katalin Rotaru. It's organized by Professor Fu Yung-ho. And, the Taiwan double bass school was founded by Professor Ran Dao, who began the double bass in France. So that's why we have affiliation here in France to Taiwan. We have a lot of Taiwanese students here in France, and I'm very happy. And then I go in a holiday in Norway, but at the end of these holidays with family, I have 3 days masterclass with Dan Stiff in Oslo, and with Gabriela Arganti, Rudiger Ludwig, good friends from all over the Europe. So it's great. And then I begin a new summer camp in Biarritz. This is the first year. It will be 14 August. And so I invited Petro Yuga, Diego Zacharias, Simon Garcia, Edmond Cheng, Han Shen. So Edmond Cheng will come from Hong Kong, with 20 students. That's great. And Marin Béat is the professor in Biarritz, and he's the organizer. So I'm very happy to announce this first version of a new summer camp in France. It's near Cabreton, the former double bass camp for 15 years before. And then I hope to make a second CD, maybe a third CD, because I prepare the Schumann concerto, my Schumann concerto, cello concerto transcription, and also the Franck Sonata and some new pieces, new tangos, modern style from Valentin Villeneuve, a good friend and pianist.
Oh, nice. Oh, that sounds great. Well, look forward to checking that out when you get done with that.